and even encourage to invade a girl's restroom. Here we are. SB 8 requires any state agency or political subdivision to have in place and enforce a policy in any multiple occupancy private spaces like restrooms, changing rooms, locker rooms. Only women can use facilities designated for women, and only men can use facilities designated for men.
And I know you, in your layout, you mentioned, I guess, your reasoning why you filed this bill, but it's my understanding that, isn't it for the purpose of gaining political points for your primary race? Is that not true?
No, I've got some statistics I would be happy to share with you about polling that's been done that shows how many Americans believe that women deserve separate spaces from men. Would you like for me to read this to you?
No, I asked, isn't it true that you wanted to file this bill because you wanted to gain political points for your primary?
I don't need political points for my primary, and I don't think that that's relevant to this bill.
Can you point to specific instances in Texas?
The members will not engage in personalities.
Can you point to specific instances in Texas where this has been an issue and would warrant the passage of this bill? In Texas, where this has happened, please.
I appreciate that question and the opportunity to answer. The first one I have is in Round Rock, Texas. A biological boy walks into a girl's locker room after band practice and begins to undress in front of other girls. Girls run out of a locker room after seeing the boy undress and are later told that the boy began identifying as a female and would be using female locker rooms. When the girls complained, they were given the option of using a pop-up tent in the changing room or to go home and change. One girl chose to go home after band practice class to shower and change. She missed more than 10 minutes of her next class and her grades began to suffer. We also have a case out of Belton. A man was seen using the women's restroom in his workplace, and it was discovered that he had placed a hidden camera under the ceiling tile above the toilet in the women's restroom. His female coworker discovered that she was being filmed in the bathroom.
It's not the same thing. And what was the harm that was caused to these individuals? Because usually to bring a cause of action, right, you have to have some kind of documented harm of some sort.
The harm is that women and girls deserve to have respect and privacy and dignity.
What safeguards have you put in place to prevent abuse or discrimination by individuals who might, weaponize this bill to harass others based on their perceived gender identity or expression?
Yeah, this bill is aimed at the governmental subdivision and the state agency. It's not aimed at an individual person.
Are there safeguards there to prevent that from happening and it not being weaponized? Because it will be.
The safeguard is for women and girls of Texas.
But I'm saying the people who this is going to be used against, like when there's a potty police, that's sitting there looking at every woman that's going into the restroom, every person coming into the restroom. I mean, is that your intention, is to make, gender policing a norm in the state of Texas? That's what it appears to me in your bill.
It has nothing to do with the bill.
Well, yes, it does. I mean, you're giving a private cause of action to folks, basically vigilante potty police is what it's creating.
You have to be affected in order to have a private cause of action.
So you don't think that gender policing violates, somebody's right to privacy or protection under the U.S. Constitution?
They only have a private cause of action if they're the person affected, which would mean they would be using the bathroom at the same time there is a person of the opposite sex in the bathroom.
So would I be required to carry my birth certificate to the restroom every time I have to go to prove that, hey, just because I have short hair or maybe I'm wearing athletic clothes or something and somebody's going to say, hey, you don't belong here, but I do? Is there anything that is here to protect such individuals?
No. There is here to protect biological females.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what I am.
Well, if you use the correct bathroom, we should be fine.
I do. But you're not answering my question. So how do you propose handling false reports of these violations that hinge on the assumption of what someone's sex may be, especially in these circumstances, right, where these reports result in some type of harassment directed at a person to be presumed to be in the wrong facility when they are in fact not?
That's going to be handled on a policy by policy basis.
Who's going to make that determination? I mean, and just if you want to go use the restroom, I mean, there's going to be a whole process just for somebody who needs to go use the restroom. So I would have to.
No. This bill is about a political subdivision having a policy in place.
But these types of incidents will happen, and they do happen. They happen right now without your bill being, and so this does not create any safeguard for those individuals who will be harassed. I mean, these are unintended consequences that maybe you haven't thought about, but they will. You're going to have folks, private individuals that are going to be policing these bathrooms because they may think that, someone, isn't a woman, and they in fact are.
That is not addressed in this bill.
Okay.
Are you aware that there have been substantially more documented instances of trans people or cis people who people think are trans being harassed in bathrooms than trans people harassing the other people in the bathroom?
The preference of someone's sexual appearance does not override the safety and privacy of a biological female.
What about their personal safety? Are you aware that in 2024, the Trevor Project found a link between youth suicidality and legislators passing legislation exactly like this?
I am not.
Does that make you pause at all that there are kids and teens and young adults watching what we're doing today and questioning whether or not they should stay alive?
I would not want anyone to feel like they were less than.
So if that's the case, can we have a conversation about how to put some safeguards in here so that we're not hurting young people? Can we talk about some language that makes those people feel safe?
I think most of these issues are going to be decided by the people that make the policy at the agencies, and if not there, then it'll be decided in court.
Yeah, as we discussed, it's going to be in different courts. So that little girl I mentioned to you, the third grader who became a lightning rod in Dripping Springs ISD, would it surprise you to know that her and her family literally fled the state of Texas because of the bills we pass?
I'm not aware.
Would it surprise you to know that I have more constituents than I can count on one hand who are trans and have reached out to me about how they have to leave the state because of the laws we've passed?
I am not advised.
Would it surprise you that one of my constituents actually decided this year that he is moving before September 1st to avoid our laws going into effect?
Well, we'll be joining 19 other states, so perhaps he should avoid one of those.
Is it your intention to run trans people out of the state of Texas?
No, just out of the bathroom.
So where should trans people use the restroom?
The bathroom assigned to their sex.
Is it your intention to force people to detransition or scare them out of transitioning at all?
Nothing to do with this bill.
I think it is, because you're forcing people to walk into a bathroom where they're going to feel unwelcome because
I'm not
they've
forcing
transitioned.
anyone to walk into a
Okay,
bathroom.
so hold it all day? Like, what's the option?
We have family bathrooms. We have private use bathrooms.
In some places, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of trans people choose those to avoid the exact type of
Good.
harassment your bill encourages. But what about that place that only has multiple occupancy restrooms? What does that person who presents as the gender that they identify with, where do they go without getting harassed and potentially even attacked?
Ladies' time has expired.